Hello there. I hear this. Hello there. Today we are doing a chatting shit. Chatting shit with Mars, as inspired by Miles's talking bollocks. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do a talking tease, but Miles was like, think of something else, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, today we're talking about Thorpe Park. I went there yesterday. Today is the 10th of September. I went on the 9th. I went on 9/11. Oh. So first things first, we were kind of like a little like, is it going to be open? You know, the Queen died yesterday.
Here we are again, just me and you, comedian, right? With your blasters, your flashing eye, you should.
And we are technically in a national state of mourning. Is it going to be open? It was fine. It was open. We had a 4-hour journey there. That's fine. We had a 6.5-hour journey back, almost 7. But I'll get into that later. My overall opinion of Thorpe Park is very mid. It's very mediocre. Like it's nice to go there once, but there isn't really much to do, and it's very small. So there's less thrill rides than Alton Towers, which is what I'm going to be comparing it to in this video because they're supposed to be sister parks, but they're really not. They're both owned by Merlin Entertainment, which is also who owns the dungeons, like the York dungeons and Sea Life and stuff like that. England's entertainment company, or yeah, yeah, but yeah, we got there. It was fine. We got there just as the park opened at 10, so we didn't have to wait or anything. And we were like, cool. And our first ride was Rush, which was a carnival ride. It was a swing, but like a big swing. There's like 8 on either side and 2 poles, and it swings back and forth. You get the G-force belly drop that you would on like stuff like that. But it's a carnival ride, which is something else that we're going to get into after I've talked about the main rides, which are the thriller rides we went on. So our first real thriller ride, I guess, or thrill ride, whatever, was Colossus, which was a twisty one, a harness strap, actual loops in it. Fun fact, first actual coaster I've went on that's had loops on it, that you're sat down. I've been on ones that have inversions, but you're like strapped in, like Nemesis in Alton Towers, where it twists but it doesn't loop, if that makes sense. It was okay. Al couldn't get on it because it was a bit too large, which it's fine. Sometimes rides are like that, and sometimes you need to be a little bit skinnier to ride these things just for safety reasons, but we were still allowed on. Pardon me. We were still allowed on, and it was like it was okay. I didn't really enjoy it because it was like the first big ride of the day, and I had the butterflies in my belly, and I didn't like the tight inversions that were near the end because it like put very much strain on your shoulders because it like pushes you and the G-force. It's a weird experience, but it was okay. It was like that's fine. We were gonna go on the Saw ride after that, but it was closed, so we're like, we'll come back to it later. Spoiler, we didn't. But yeah, after that, I was feeling a little bit icky, so I was like, I'll sit out the next ride. When my Be Real went off, while Emma and Al were on Nemesis. I didn't get them in my Be Real. I got like the cart before them, but still, I think that's pretty neat. Here it is. Here is my Be Real, because I'm editing this video. I am editing this video. But yeah, I sat and had a tab while they were on the Nemesis. And then I was like, I'm feeling a bit better. So we continued walking around, and then we went on Stealth, which is another thriller roller coaster, but it is a thriller roller coaster or a thrill coaster. That is a mouthful. I apologize, but Stealth was a hydraulic launch coaster with one inversion, the ones that go up and then down. Again, they are like most common in American theme parks. It's just something that you can buy and it's easy to get. But yeah, that was fun. It was like our comparison was to Rita in Alton Towers because it was like it's 0 to 80 miles an hour in 0.5 seconds, and then you shoot up, and then there's a second where it feels like you're floating, and then you shoot down. It's fun. We went on we went on Stealth twice. We went on Colossus once because we couldn't get on it again. But yeah, after this we did this experience is the best way I'm going to describe it. It was called the Black Mirror Labyrinth. And it was like, okay, so they took your photo at the start, and then you go into this little room, and some of our faces were there, and we're like, oh, we're downloading your mind, we're a sentient AI, ha 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 ha. My face was the only one up there that recognised it as a face, and my face was one of the ones that got downloaded, and I think that's funny, even though I was wearing makeup that day. Yesterday, whatever. Time is weird, time's thick jelly. That was kind of a horrid experience, I'm going to be completely honest, because it was like going through rooms. Al's on his scooter, so it's like, uh-oh. And then there was like a mirror maze. Oh god, the mirror maze. While you're trying to get through this mirror maze, there's strobe lights, there's blackouts, and then there's colourful LEDs. And it's a mirror maze. It's so disorientating. And I was just like, looking for the exit, and I fully got lost. And it was very close to having a panic attack because I got lost. And I was like, where am I? Where am I? But then it's fine. I found the exit. Al crashed into like 4 mirrors, so that's so fun. After that, Emma, Al, and my cousin went on a water ride. I was like, I'm not getting wet. I'm being smart here. I'm not getting wet. It's basic flume ride. And they were like, they came off it soaked. So they just stood in one of them dryers and got dried. And I'm like, sucks to suck. I'm smart here. I'm not getting wet. But yeah, and then after that, we walked over to the Walking Dead ride, which was, oof. Okay, so the Walking Dead ride was a mix between an invasive, interactive experience and a dark ride. Basically, you're like walking down this dark hall with the ambience of like, oh, you're being chased by zombies. We were walking so fast, and only me and Emma went on this ride. I was gripping her hand and she was dragging me because everybody was walking so fast, and I was feeling very autistic in that moment. It was like, oh, I don't like this. It was very loud as well, so like another autistic thing. It was very loud, and I was having a bit of a sensory overload. So we got to the dark ride bit. The dark ride was very mediocre, but for an indoor dark ride, there's not much you can do. Like, there's not going to be any, like, loops or anything like that, which is fine. You know, it was a lap bar experience, so they're not going to go too fast. It was very immersive. That was the word I was looking for. It was very immersive, and it was, like, themed around The Walking Dead, and I really liked it. I didn't like the experience before or after, but I liked the dark ride because of the theming. I liked the zombies and like the ambience and stuff like that. It was fun. Then after we come off the dark ride, it's like go, 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 and then we're running again, and we're like, well, fast walking, and I'm still feeling very autistic, so I'm holding my mum's hand and we're going, and then we got out, and that was fine. And then there was filler rides, carnival rides, stuff you'd find at a Pride or like an event. There was 7 of these. I've got notes. I got notes. I came prepared for this video. Look at this. Notes. There was Zodiac, Rush, Quantum, Vortex, Samurai, Teacups and Dodgems. That's 7. We went on Rush, Quantum, Vortex and Zodiac. No. Zodiac, Rush and Quantum. I didn't go on Zodiac because that is like, if you've been to Alton Towers, that's the Enterprise ride. You're in a car and it spins. It goes full 90 degrees and then it spins back right down. It's a G-force ride where you just feel a bit of G-force. Rush was the first ride we went on of the day. That was the swings. And Quantum was a ride that I went on, and it was a Julie's carpet. One of these. Something you'd find at a fairground. Which we didn't go on any of the others because it was like, they look really slow. Like, normally when you look at a carnival ride, they're like, oh, they're really fast. But the ones at Alton Towers, the static rides, they're a bit, they looked mediocre. They looked fair, you know? So that's one thing. And that brings me on to my next point. The Thorpe Park isn't that really enjoyable, especially because of the lack of thrill rides. There is 5 altogether, or 6. We couldn't go on Swarm, which was you basically strapped in and they're on either side. We couldn't get in that because of Al's amputation. But apart from that, there's Colossus, Nemesis, Stealth, and technically the Walking Dead ride. That's 5. And then there's more filler rides than thrill rides, because even one of the thrill rides is a filler ride. So I did end up going on Nemesis. I forgot to say, I did end up going on Nemesis after we went on the Walking Dead ride, because we walked over that and it was like sick, and then we went on Stealth again. Because it's so compact in a small space, there's not much to do. Like, there was a school there that got there at the same time as us, and they had to go at 2:10. The park closes at 6, but that doesn't matter. They had to be there at 2:10. I feel like they could have done all of the rides in that time, simply because they're so close together, and the queues weren't that long. Like, yes, it was like a relatively empty day because of a couple factors, but still, I don't think in the long run, the lines would be that long, because it is a very small park, and I don't know, it's not something that you get an annual pass to. It's something that you can go to once, experience it all, and then go home. As well as this, there's not really much theming. There's not really much like concept rides or concept areas like there is in Alton Towers. In Alton Towers, you've got Mutiny Bay, you've got the X Sector, you've got what is now David Williams Land, you've got CBeebies Land, so on and so forth. There's one in Thorpe Park, and that's the Angry Birds sector. And it's just like, the teacups, the dodgems, the water rides, and the detonator are there. I forgot to mention, we went on the detonator. That's just the drop tower. I didn't go on it because I'm like, there's no way in hell you're getting at me on that. I'm asthmatic. I won't be able to breathe. So me and my mum just kind of stood and watched. But again, there's no theming, like, at all. There's 2 concept rides. One of them being the dark ride, the Walking Dead ride. And the other one was a Saw ride, which we didn't get to go on because it was closed both of the times we went there, which I'm mad at, because that was the one ride I was really excited to do because of it both being a concept ride and a thrill ride, and also a concept ride on a thing that I have had a hyperfixation on. I had a hyperfixation on Saw, and I was really excited to go on it. But the first time, they were like, oh, it's closed, sorry, we're not sure when it'll reopen. The second time we got there, we're like, it's just closed, like literally 2 minutes ago, and me and Cole were like, oh, for fuck's sake, oh. Because it looks like really intense and really fun, but we didn't get to go on it, so. But yeah, there's no law to the rides. Like, in Alton Towers, every single secret weapon has a story to it. Every single thrill ride has a theme. Like, aliens from outer space, you're going through space. A cult. Another cult, but this time, Smiler. Stuff like that. And it's very disappointing to go to a place where it's like, just carnival rides, really. Carnival rides and filler. Pardon me, sorry. And it's just, again, it's very mediocre, a very disappointing experience. Like, it was a fun day out, but it was disappointing, to say the least. And when we went there yesterday, it was Oktoberfest, which is like celebrating Germany core. I don't know what Oktoberfest is. I might have to Google that, but it's like, in Alton Towers, there's always decoration everywhere. And there's stage shows, there's merchandise, there's stuff like that. Thorpe Park, there was like a lanyard and a pin badge. And the show they had was tiny, in like a subsection of the park, not like a main part of the park, like in Alton Towers. They've got a massive grassy area and a stage that's like a big stage, that's like a proper set-up stage, whereas in Thorpe Park it was just like a still stage, and like 3 people were on it, and like, okay. Like, it's supposed to be a celebration of something, but come on, girl, put your pussy into it. Go, girl, give us nothing, yeah.
I love her lack of energy. Go, girl, give us nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, Thorpe Park has a very minimal aesthetic, and just, it's not the best. If you live closer to it, it's definitely worth going there once, but especially if you live far away like we do, it's not really worth it, especially for the travel. Like, we spent more time traveling yesterday than we did actually at the park. We spent 11 hours traveling, 4 there and like 6.5, 7 back. And we spent six hours there. So, like, yeah. And because we had done everything and even some rides twice in the day, we went home at 4ish. We set off at about 4. Because, I mean, we left the park at 3, but we spent like an hour getting coffee and doing stuff like that and packing the car, and stuff like that, like exit activities. But, yeah. Speaking of, the journey back was horrid. There was a diversion because there was a crash on the A19, I would like to say. One of the motorways. And we were following the sat-nav. One of the signs says, turn your sat-nav off and follow the road diversions. For the first time, we're like, oh no, it's fine. The sat-nav knows where it's going because it's Google Maps. It took us through a loop back to the diversion. And then we were like, oh, for fuck's sake. So that was like a half hour gone by getting lost. And then we got back. And it was just a long car journey, a very overwhelming long car journey back. It was just not fun at all. But yes, that was my review of Thorpe Park. Out of 5 stars, I give it 2.5. If the saw ride was open, I'd give it 3. But yeah, that is it for today. I will see y'all later. Bye.